I think we know that the Milwaukee takeover is complete. 2 out of 3, great fans. It felt like Wrigley North, Hollywood Pete on display. We're going to talk about that. Matt Shaw ready to return. And what's the latest on Shōta Imanaga, who left the game on Sunday after injuring his lower body, covering first base. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you guys for being here. And let's get this thing started. It's great to see you guys. And again, thank you for being here on the Cubs Baseball channel. We like to get together with you guys often and appreciate all the comments, the feedback, get involved in the messaging, and let's talk Cubs baseball. Love the debate. Even the thumbs up, sometimes the thumbs down, but the fact that you guys are here means a lot. All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee takeover. One of the big questions that we kept asking was, how are the Cubs going to do against the teams in their division? Well, we got our first real taste of teams from the Central, and we found out that the Cubs are still the Cubs. They took care of business against the Pirates, could have swept, but they ended up with 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. They go to Milwaukee, same thing, could have swept, but Shōta Imanaga injured, and it definitely changed the direction of the ball game on Sunday. But still, congratulations to you guys for showing up en masse. And I'm sure it probably irritates the hell out of the Brewers to have that many Cubs fans in their stadium, making it feel like home. The big story to me, though, is this guy right here, Hollywood Pete Crow-Armstrong. What he's doing right now is why I nicknamed him Hollywood. He is a star. He is he's a little flamboyant. He is aggressive. He's got a big smile. He plays the game charismatically. It's really amazing to watch. And I think what happened was it took a while for him to kind of grow into the major league game. The other thing is it took the Cubs a little while to say, hey, you go out there and do you. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing it with the results, right? 272 average, 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in, 12 stolen bases. I mean, you can go through all the stats. Defensively, he covers more ground than anyone else. He runs the bases with passion and speed. And I call it, bionic ability. It's like he can see the ball and what's going to do before it does it. And then anticipation, right? First step in the outfield and then again running the bases. But he also brings a flair to the game that reminds me of Javi Baez, who he said was his favorite player. And it's good to see Baez starting to look like Baez again in center field for the Tigers. But really happy to see that. You hear from the Cubs front office and Craig Counsell, and then, hey, let the guy be the guy. This is the trade that of all the players the Cubs gave up has worked out. It's worked out great. If you're the Mets, you're kicking yourself. I know it's only 1 month or, whatever, a little over a month, but we're getting a sample of what he does, right? I mean, he's going to have a good time out there. He's going to play the game flying around. Daniel Palencia and him made a bet. He's doing the money thing after he hits a home run because he says, hey, what inning was it going to come? He's been so hot. He hits second at bat. Boom, there it is. And the funny thing is some of the media people were like, hey, he's saying he wants he wants a contract extension. No, it's funny though, because that's where they always go with that, right? I don't think he would do that. I think he's just out there having a great time, and he's making a difference in this lineup. And I got to give Craig Counsell a lot of credit, because one of the problems that we had with young players coming up when Rossi was the manager was the pressure of making the transition was just too hard. They struggled, and then he didn't make it easy on him. A lot of people felt like Counsell comes in, hey, look, the guy's going to do his thing, tries to really take the pressure off of those guys. And I think that it's paid off. Now, 2 other prospects I want to talk about on here. I want to start with Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is ready. And that's according to Strick, the hitting coach down in Iowa. Tommy Birch with a great story about this. Shaw came in 1 for 17, struggling. Maybe his confidence was a little bit down, and he's back. He's got a hit streak going. He's seeing the ball. He's back to what he does. This is an interesting decision that the Cubs are going to have to make, because it's a win now season. But this is a player that could potentially help you win now, or maybe he can't. I don't know. I mean, he's got to do what he's doing now in Iowa in AAA. And you saw how long it took Pete Crow-Armstrong, how many at-bats it took for him to kind of get to play his game the way he likes to play it. It's going to be maybe the same thing for Shaw. It may take 300 at-bats. Do the Cubs have that kind of patience right now to give him 300 at-bats? That's a good question, and I don't know that. And Bruce Levine, was on the radio, and he's saying, hey, one side of the mouth, the Cubs are saying, hey, we're behind Shaw, but he said behind the scenes, they're looking for a third baseman. Wouldn't surprise me that he'd be exactly right, because, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. But if they do go get a third baseman, who is that, and what does that look like? And then what does that look like for Shaw? Those are all questions that, we'll find out. But the bottom line is that Cubs are in first place right now, and they want to stay there. And Shaw's going to have to come up and hit a little bit better than he did last time. He's going to have to bat over 200, or hit for power or do something, right? But I don't think he got blown away. I don't think that they were knocking the bat out of his hand. That's a term that we use a lot of times in baseball for a guy that's just not ready for that level. It felt like he was adjusting in those 18 games, making contact. It wasn't hard contact, but it was contact. And I think that he'll continue to grow with those opportunities. But he's ready. So look for something maybe to happen if there were an injury, or, if the Cubs are feeling like they want to bring him back up and give him a chance. It's the guys that are tearing it up, like Moises Ballesteros, don't have a spot right now in the big leagues. And that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The bad thing, because there is a spot, it's Justin Turner, but he's paid to be there. And even though he's really not a contributor on the field, he looks really old, and a Ballesteros could come in and make a difference. And I know, look, right-handed, left-handed, and all that stuff, but look, either you can hit or you can't, right? And it's great to have cheerleaders, right? Guys that are going to help your locker room and all that. But at the end of the day, you got to have somebody that can go out there and make a difference. And Ballesteros is doing that in Iowa. It puts a lot of pressure on those guys in the big leagues when you look back and you see a guy like Ballesteros that's hitting and hitting and hitting, knowing that you got shut out 4-0 on Sunday in Milwaukee, and maybe he's a guy that could have came in and sparked you. You could have brought him in, and maybe he could have contributed and drove in some runs. Got hit a home run, done something, right? Talking about Sunday's game, guys, Shōta Imanaga was wheeling and dealing, covering first base, had an injury, left the game limping. Not sure what the long-term prognosis is going to be. Craig Counsell talked after the game that they're going to get it checked out. Imanaga's never really had a lower body problem before. Wasn't really sure what he felt. That's the tough part about fielding the position. This is one of the reasons why they didn't want pitchers to bat, just because of random injuries to their legs, or feet, or, whatever, covering bases or swinging the bat and running the bases or whatever. Hopefully Imanaga's okay. We'll find that out soon. This could be the opening for a Cade Horton. I think he's knocking on the door right now to Chicago. He's someone that the Cubs aren't going to want wasting his bullets in AAA. And Naren Desai, who's great to come on the show with me, we're talking about this, and he brought up a great point, kind of soft landing points in the schedule for a guy like game against some teams that maybe don't have as formidable of a lineup, aren't as pressure packed, and maybe resemble something that he would see more in AAA than in the big leagues. So maybe you don't want to throw him in against the Yankees or the Dodgers right away. Let him get some confidence, get all of that out of the way, the butterflies, and do his thing. I think he's going to be the next guy that gets a big opportunity. And when he does, we'll be here to talk about it on the Cubs baseball channel. So that's what we have for you today. Tonight, the Cubs will play host to the Giants, and that's a 6:40 game at Wrigley. Two really good teams, by the way. The Giants surprisingly competing with the Dodgers in that very difficult West, and they're 22-13. Cubs are 21-14. So right there, the pitching matchup tonight, Lance Rope, who is 2-2 with a 5.10 ERA against Matthew Boyd, who's been fantastic for the Cubs this year. Boyd 2-2 with a 2.70 ERA. He has fit in so well with the Cubs. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, fingers crossed that this is just a little, pull or something light for Imanaga, because the Cubs have to have him. You take him out of this rotation, and all of a sudden now him and Steele being gone changes the entire rotation, even with Cade Horton sliding in soon, I think, to be part of what they're doing. But like, subscribe, thumbs up, get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. And you know what? We'll talk a little bit more Cubs baseball coming up soon, and maybe sooner than later. We'll see if something breaks. All right. Have a great day. Go Cubs.